Hey guys, welcome to the first show, the inaugural kickoff of this amazing campaign, the Frontline Forward podcast, in conjunction with COVID Health and COVIDhealth.ca. Today's it's a special day. It's a new beginning, just like what's going on in our world right now. We're living in a very challenging, very tough, and a very confusing time for a lot of people. We here at Frontline Forward, in conjunction with COVID Health, just want to shed a little light. They're pretty dark and dreary days right now, and we just want to turn that around and see what we can do to not only help out the community, but help out the world as a whole here right now, Canada.
Absolutely.
And the rest of it. My name is Brian Stevens, and I'm the host of the Frontline Forward podcast. I'm here with my very close friend, Mr. Ron Sonoda.
Welcome and hello.
Welcome and hello.
Welcome and hello.
That. That's
Konnichiwa. That's Italian, by the way.
The purpose of the show, we sat back. We had the Step Forward podcast, which we started, and we had that going, and then the world was hit with what's going on. It was a little bit of a slow introduction, and then all of a sudden, boom! It just hit.
It did,
and we're in the middle of it. We're in the middle of a war. This is a world war.
Yeah, it's something that a lot of us haven't experienced. You and I are children of the 60s, so we witnessed the Vietnam War, but our parents experienced, my parents experienced, your parents experienced World War II, and this is what everybody's liking it to. This is a global pandemic war on our, not just socioeconomic, but our human spirit, our mind, body, and soul.
Yeah, and that's the tough one for a lot of people right now, is that for those that haven't experienced this, that don't have the generations behind them, maybe that have experienced this or had those conversations, this is a whole new thing. And like it or not, it's here. And I mean, it's we're in a war. We're in a global pandemic health crisis. This virus, the COVID-19 virus that's out there, it's deadly. Obviously, we hear and read about that each and every day.
Yeah, we are.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, we're being inundated with a lot of information overload. I call it the rabbit hole. We talked about that off camera, about going down that rabbit hole. But
yeah.
I'm your Ed McMahon. You're the Johnny Carson. So why are we here? What's this all about?
Yeah. The purpose of the program. So I want to jump, take just a few steps backwards and just introduce what this is all about. So the co-founder, Mr. Robert Rinaldi.
Good man.
Good guy.
Yep.
All around good guy. Robert's a pretty dynamic individual. He's the co-founder of
Shout out to Rob. What camera are we on? One or two here? Shout out to Robert.
And, Robert is the co-founder of COVID Health and instrumental in getting the website up, the COVIDhealth.ca, which I want people to take time out of your day and visit that and see the Community Heroes campaign that's going on right now. But Robert, along with his wife, Dr. Sarah Rinaldi, just an amazing young woman.
Nice round of applause there, folks.
They've put that together, and they started the whole COVID Health campaign to just be informative, be educational, let people know what's going on, give them a site to go and watch. And through a good friend of ours, a mutual friend, Mr. Dave Fady, we connected up. They came to me and asked whether Frontline would like to be part of this amazing campaign, and absolutely, I said yes. So Frontline Forward, located at 45 Shirley Avenue here in Kitchener, an overall health and wellness center for for everybody, but built by myself for first responders. So we're trying to reach out to the first responder and healthcare community,
Right.
to them as well as their families, to come to our place and be maintain and improve their overall health and wellness. So we've got a grassroots approach to what we're doing here. And the COVID health program is just that. It's a grassroots campaign.
Yeah.
We're at the grassroots. We're reaching out to the men and women, our healthcare workers, and our first responders. Although the people appreciate the jobs they do, I think they're really starting to come and understand what they're all about.
Yeah, I think the whole reality and transparency and is something that we're all kind of getting accustomed to,
Yeah.
whether we like it or not.
Yeah, whether we like it or not, it's here. And when Dave came to me and introduced me to Robert and Sarah Rinaldi and said, "Would you guys like to be part of this campaign?" I said, "We will do absolutely everything and anything that we can do to support this."
Absolutely.
So we've become, in conjunction with Dave, a logistics center, a distribution center. For some PPE, we're getting a little bit of the community that's bringing PPE our way, and we're distributing that out as we can. We don't have a lot of that stuff here, but we are distributing some of it. But the biggest thing that we want to offer here is hand sanitizer, and it's something that's in short supply. Like, remember when this first kicked off, and you said to me, "I think you should go out and pick up some hand sanitizer."
Yeah.
And this was like about a week before things even just got going.
Yeah,
I went out, and at that time it was an eerie thing, but the shelves were empty,
they were.
completely empty. And then that's when we got introduced with Robert and Dave about what's happening in this community. And, this thing is just metamorphosizing right in front of us. It continues to grow. The COVID health team continues to grow each and every day. More and more people are joining the campaign. They're being part of this movement, and it truly is a grassroots movement. And we're reaching out to, as I said, to our corporate and community heroes that are doing such an amazing job. And right now we're in the midst of, every day we get up and we watch the news, we hear the news, and it's just full of doom and gloom. And I'm, to be very honest with you, I'm getting sick and tired of it. We get out there and we hear about Ontario versus Quebec versus BC, and it's nice to be informed, but we're just inundated every day with the negativity, and we're seeing the amount of people that it's affecting, and unfortunately the number of lives that are being lost. And so where I'm going with this is that the group here at COVID Health came to me and said, "What do you think about doing a podcast?" And obviously, having the two of us host this show, we're going to get down to why it made sense for you and I to host the show, just because of our backgrounds alone.
Right.
But,
I think that's important to share that with. I think if we're going to move forward by doing this podcast and working along with corporate heroes, community heroes, and just being part of this life story, this historical life event that's going on, I think we should start at a grassroots level and you just let people know who you are, what you're all about, why we're here. And
we're doing a little bit of validation too. We're just, as a good friend of ours, former co-worker, Mr. Bill Hetherington, reached out. He said, he calls us the two monkeys. This is really what we are. We are just two monkeys, but I'm going to put that I think we're kind of special monkeys.
Yeah.
In the aspect of we've both been through a lot, and we're here. We're here to put some validation to this show,
Sure.
And then the guests that we're going to have on the show, that'll be tremendous. So, Ron, why don't you go ahead and let people know what you're all about, who you are?
Okay. I was a frontline paramedic for 20 some odd years, starting back in 1990, I believe. I started, and became an advanced care paramedic. Was really interested in education and mentoring and precepting and helping out. So I got involved in instructing, challenged the tactical program, which is basically SWAT. You facilitate as the medic for the SWAT team. I was on the bicycle team, things like that. What I really got out of that was a lot of my mentors, whether it was paramedic Bill Hetherington or Roy Griffin or people like Brian Dowd, and a lot of the guys that were around before the internet and television and things like that. They were the ones that learned very difficult life stories. They made a difference in people's lives, and they taught me about humility. And sometimes the most important thing is just sitting with someone and listening to their life story. And it's taken a long time for both of us to get to the realization of we are just part of this great big picture, great big story. Whether you're a paramedic or firefighter, police officer, nurse, doctor, you're serving groceries or coffee, we are all participating in this life story right now and being corporate and community heroes. So that's why I'm here. That's why I got involved. That's why I'm helping you. That's why I'm part of this COVID health team, is just being part of this story and trying to write a good portion of this story that ends well.
Yeah, and it's going to end well.
Absolutely.
Absolutely it is. No, Ron, Ron and I worked together initially as frontline paramedics working in the city of Mississauga and covering the region of Halton. So we worked for a former company called Halton, Mississauga, where we were both primary and then advanced care paramedics. And then just like everything in life, we just took different paths. Ron went the route of going into the Hamilton area, city of Hamilton. It became that tactical medic,
Right.
and just progressed along from there.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's and you know, I went the route of leaving Halton, Mississauga, and then I went to the air ambulance program, and this is where the validation comes in here. I was part of the elite group of paramedics, and I don't say that boastfully. That's just a fact. I was a critical care flight paramedic. I worked on board the helicopter right here.
It was bigger than that, though. I know on TV everything looks smaller,
Yeah,
I think, but
yeah.
the helicopter was actually bigger than that.
It was bigger than
Yeah.
But yeah, I worked there for 18 years and trained at the highest level. Reached out to not only the community here in southwestern Ontario, but we were a provincial resource, meaning that the 7 different bases we had, we intermixed all the time. So I found myself always up in the Ottawa area, up in, near Sudbury in northern Ontario. And just a prolific career. Loved every minute of it. Trained to the highest level. We did some amazing things. But much like, unfortunately, the same with you, Ron, I got into trouble with my mental health wellness and ended up being diagnosed with complex PTSD.
Right.
And then had to move on from there. And so that's really the validation that comes with this. Yes, we are a couple of monkeys, but we've got some grassroots behind us. You know, you and I talked about that for years. We ran towards the storm.
Yeah.
We ran towards the fire.
Yep.
The car accidents, the people that called out in need. Now out the other side of PTSD, and you know, big kudos to you for battling through what you did, and you know, you're healthy and happy, and you're here.
I'm here.
That's the main thing.
Showed up to work.
And we're both here, but the call to duty has come once again. And you and I were just talking about this the other day, that now that we're retired, we're out the other side. With Frontline Forward, we're reaching out to the community, offering what we are here. But then all of a sudden, COVID-19 comes along, and the call to duty came again. And that's what we're doing here. We're giving back.
All right.
We're running towards this whole pandemic that's going on. And in conjunction with Robert and Sarah Rinaldi and Dave Fady and the rest of the team here at COVID Health, we're running towards the fire.
Right.
And we're here to help.
Yeah, and the thing that is remarkable right now is it's not just frontline healthcare workers and first responders running towards this chaos now. It's everyone else.
Yeah.
It's the community. It's the mom and the dad and kids making signs, and we have a bunch of people making hospital gowns and hospital masks for us.
Yeah.
They're donating personal items of personal protective equipment, putting themselves in jeopardy so that first responders and frontline healthcare workers are being protected. That is the difference. Mm-hmm. That's the remarkable thing that I'm witnessing right now.
Mm-hmm. You know, and under the COVID health campaign, we've got a pretty impressive, very inspirational, let's put it that way, campaign, a spin-off of that called the Stay at Home Heroes online campaign. And it's stayathomeheroes.com and the hashtag Plank the Curve. Now we're hearing about Plank the Curve. Mm-hmm. So let's talk about that a little bit to explain. Maybe people at home are going, what the hell is a curve? Like, what are they talking about here?
Right.
And what we're doing is that we've had a steady climb in the number of people infected, the number of people sick, hospitalized, and unfortunately the deaths that we had. And it's continued to climb. And that curve is just getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And what we're trying to do, plank the curve,
right,
is we're just trying to level this thing off a little bit so that we as a community, as a society, as a group here, we can just level this thing off for a little bit, let us breathe, let us get a hold of this, continue to do what we're doing, and hopefully start to diminish that and bring it back down the other side.
Right.
You know, that's what that's really all about. But that's a really important campaign that I want people to make sure that they reach out to with that. So on the, you know, we hear the dark and dreary stuff all the time, and I know people are kind of tired of hearing about what to do about this thing, but there are a couple of really key elements that I'd like to talk about, and that is face masks. Mm-hmm. So we're getting, you know, mixed messages all the time about, you know, we've got a shortage of masks, 100%.
Yep.
And the government, provincial and federal government, are working hard at trying to get those masks out to our healthcare workers and our first responders. But I mean, the masks don't really protect you that's wearing the mask, right? It protects those around you, that if you cough or if you sneeze or you spray when you're talking, that goes out, you know, to a field of, and we'll talk about the field here right now.
Yeah, we're talking about the surgical masks right now? Yeah, absolutely.
So, I mean, it doesn't really protect you as much as it protects the people that are out around you, right. And that's why they're saying to people to stay at least the 2 meters away or the 6 feet. That's the key.
Yeah, and because we are Canadian, eh?
Yeah,
Canadian, eh? Instead of doing the 2 meters or 6 feet, you know, we're instituting just the hockey stick.
Yeah, hashtag hockey stick
Hockey
away.
stick, I think that's brilliant. If you just kind of keep that distance, it's a good reminder.
Yeah.
Whether you're wearing masks or gloves, that's great. The hand sanitizer that we can talk about shortly, that's going on, that's great. But the whole distancing thing is really important.
And that's where that social distancing thing has come up. And
Yeah.
you can wear the mask, that's fine.
Yep.
But if you're not wearing the mask, keeping that social distancing at the 2 meters, 6 feet away, that's the whole key. And that's what we're trying to impress, that everybody's really trying to impress everybody to keep that distance.
Yeah.
It's hard.
It is.
It's super hard because we want to hug our loved ones, we want to hug our friends, shake your hands. You know, like I come from the era that your handshake that was everything.
That was the contract.
That was the contract right there, and we're not able to do that right now.
No.
So we're sort of breaking that down. So that's a tough barrier. What people don't understand with that, that's a tough mental barrier to get over right there.
Yeah, and especially with the warm weather coming now.
Yeah, exactly. So I mean, we're talking about that. So social distancing, the mask, yes, but I mean, you can wear a mask over and over again, but you got to be cleaning that, obviously. Mm-hmm. So, yes, you know, I don't want to sound like I'm preaching here, but we do have some validity, some background to this.
Yeah. And
when I was working the front lines, I couldn't stand wearing those masks.
I don't think anybody enjoys wearing those masks or goggles or gowns or
they're,
gloves.
and putting that validation back into this, We both worked during SARS,
We did.
the SARS outbreak.
Yeah.
Scary. I had friends that were affected by it, fellow paramedics.
Right.
So we were there for the SARS epidemic where, MERS,
Yep.
in the air ambulance field, we were always affected by the MRSA breakout that happened all the time. You and I were here during 9/11.
Yeah, we were.
We were working the front lines.
Yeah, we did
And
that.
I think it's important for people to know exactly what you did during 9/11.
There was a joint effort of. I was in Hamilton at the time. I was born and raised in Hamilton, so shout out to the Hamilton paramedics in the Hammer.
In the Hammer.
My brothers and sisters out there. Yeah, I was the site coordinator during 9/11 at Mount Hope Airport. My job was to facilitate the additional flights coming in from Ground Zero, and we didn't know what was going on. I didn't see any of the television going on.
No.
I was unaware of the devastation, so we had to facilitate landing of thousands of people. That really, I got to see firsthand again how the community gets together, from children to the elderly, and donating food and supplies and water, and donating money and their time to support the first responders and healthcare workers affected by that. And we were inspired to go down to New York City. We raised a bunch of money for the paramedics killed at Ground Zero. And I was allowed to meet the family members who lost their moms and dads who were paramedics. And I was the only paramedic to speak at that memorial service at the Javits Center, which is now being a huge hospital center right now. But that's where we all met and spoke. And I planted the Canadian flag and saluted and did my part. But it was a joint effort during 9/11.
Yeah, and thank you for sharing that, because I wanted to make sure that we got that out there, that and yes, I'm emphasizing again that we are a couple of monkeys, but we're guys that we've been through an awful lot in our careers, and we've got some validation with what's going on here, and hooking up with the COVID Health team and covidhealth.ca with Mr. Dave Fetty, Robert Rinaldi, and Dr. Sarah Rinaldi. We put some validity behind this. We've got some, we know what we're talking about, and we're part of this. So let's just touch on another topic there, and that is the gloves that people are wearing. Important? No? Yes? What do you think?
Well, for healthcare workers, for first responders, absolutely.
Yeah.
For people that are serving us at groceries and takeout food, absolutely.
Yeah.
The problem with the general public wearing gloves going into the grocery stores or going shopping is they will unconscious or subconsciously touch their face.
Yeah.
They'll have contaminated hands, and then instead of taking those gloves off and disposing, they'll get into their car and touch the steering wheel, touch their kids, touch their phone. So the more tools you have on your tool belt, the heavier the tool belt, the more responsibility it takes. And that's why it's the simplicity of just washing your hands, how it makes a big difference in the social distancing. So unless you're a professional healthcare worker, a first responder, or you're actually in the community and they're putting their lives on the line serving the general public, you don't need gloves. What you need to do is wash your hands, and social distancing.
And social distancing. Those are the two big ones. That's enormous. Like gloves, masks are all well and fine.
Right.
Get it. But washing hands, social distancing, and staying at home as much as you can.
Yeah.
That is, those are the keys to.
I think the reality is, if the Canadian government or the G20 countries had billions, I'm not saying millions, I mean billions of gloves and masks, everyone would be encouraged to wear gloves and masks. But that's not the reality. No. It's an all or nothing principle here. You either everyone does it or not. If not, the people that are doing it are the physicians and the nurses and the first responders and healthcare workers.
Yeah. A big one that we want to talk about now, we've got the hashtag hockey stick away. We've talked about social distancing and the gloves and masks.
Right.
The purpose of this show, as we said at the start, was to put a positive spin on things, get out there. And that's where we're going to ask people. We're going to ask a couple of simple questions, but we want people to send in their comments because, we've got our comments.
Yep.
That's what it's all about, and that's just all it is. You can agree with it, you can disagree with it. That's just our comments. That's just my comment or
Right.
yours alone.
Yeah.
It's not meant to be preachy or anything like that, but we want to hear from you people. We want to hear from our healthcare workers, their families, our first responders, and their families. And we want people to send us in their videos. Send in videos about what you're doing at home to stay safe. Call in and just talk about your son or daughter, your mom or dad, your aunt, your uncle that's a first responder, and let them know that you're thinking about them.
Yeah, the whole aspect of, I think the essence of this show is life story. So I wrote something that I want to share with everybody. I'll read it first, and then I'll show it, and then we'll talk about the website.
Yeah.
We can send the pictures and videos to. I just wrote, we live and share a moment once together, and then it simply becomes a story. And that's what this podcast and this is what this whole challenge is about. And if you want to send pictures, you want to send videos, you want to send a shout out to someone who's a frontline hero, a community hero, corporate hero, even a birthday wish, if your mom or dad are in a nursing home, you simply go to the BeHumanKindPodcast.com. And if you go to that site, we will upload your pictures and your videos, and we will put them on this podcast, because that's what we want this show to be about. It's not you and I sitting here, the two talking heads, but actually the people in the Kitchener-Waterloo, Ontario, Canada, participating in the health and wellness and recovery of this whole pandemic.
And you know what, Ron, we've talked about this, that this is it's a challenging and dark time. But where there's darkness, there's light.
Yeah.
And there's just a ton of stuff that's going on in the community. And that's what this podcast is going to be all about. With future ones that we've got, we're going to bring on the people behind the scenes. We're going to have Dave Fady on here. We're going to have Dr. Sarah Rinaldi. We're going to have Robert on here. We're going to have what's happening in our community. There's just some tremendous stuff that people are doing behind the scenes.
Right.
To support everybody, and you know, we want to talk about this quickly. We're getting down near the end here, but I wanted to talk about this hand sanitizer campaign that's going on.
Yeah,
because it is
good idea,
massive.
Yeah,
I mean, we've connected with some pretty amazing people over at Waterloo Brewing and up at Cowbell that are supplying us with beer mash, or mash, I guess it's called. We're taking that in the big totes, and we're delivering them down to some of the distilleries in the area. And we've got more and more joining our team each and every day. But, you know, we want to give the big shout out to some pretty important people. Dr. Steve Innocente up at Innocente Breweries up in Waterloo. Smart guy. We've got Mark Townsend with Silver Fox. Ben Murphy with Murphy's Law. Just an incredible group. We got the group out at Junction 56 in Stratford. We got Willowball that's out in Ayr, Spring Mill in Guelph, and that's just some of them, and we're getting more and more that are joining this campaign each and every day. So what happens is I'm going to let the big smart people talk about it. I'm going to give the quick down and dirty Coles notes, but we're taking that beer mash.
Right.
Being the logistics center, we're coordinating moving those totes over to the distilleries, and the big brains of these distilleries that are used to making moonshine and whiskey and the vodkas and all the rest of it, they're graciously using their distilleries. They're building these stills, and with a combination of the beer mash and ethanol and the glycerin and the hydrogen peroxide. These brilliant people are coming up with hand sanitizer. And it's important for us to get out to everybody that this is under the World Health Organization standards.
Yep.
The CDC, the Center for Disease Control standards. That's what this stuff, we have the license for it. We have an MSDS sheet that comes out to support that this stuff is good. What we're doing with that, we're then bottling it and putting it into Big Pails Home Hardware. Has just stepped up here in a big way to supply us with some of the bottles we have and the spray nozzles. and the pails to bring this product down here. We're bringing all that back here to Frontline Forward,
Right.
And then we're getting that out to the community. We've reached out to our healthcare workers and our first responders. We've given a number of bottles out to our police officers, and we've given it out with our paramedics that we're working with right now, doing our bit to keep them safe.
Right.
And that's important.
Yeah, and over this transition of during this podcast and during this pandemic, we're going to show pictures and videos of actually us distributing the sanitizer and all the donations that people are giving us, the homemade gowns and caps and things like that.
Yeah.
And that's the story. That's the message we want to get across, that this is a very grassroots. I don't like using the word feel good, but that's the reality. I come in here every day, and we know we're making our little difference of what we're doing here is important, and everything adds up. So that's why we're here. That's why I'm here.
That's why we're here. That's why we're both here.
Yeah.
And like I said, we're going to have some pretty amazing people that are going to come on the show here. So please, send us your stories, send us your videos. Let's get that in there. Let's get a conversation started here. Tell us that you think that we're full of it here, or that we don't know what we're talking about, and let's have that conversation.
We never
We've
know
heard
what we're
that
talking
before.
about. This is just...
We just want to say thank you, Canada. And we mean that with all our heart and soul. Thank you, Canada, for living and learning together, for overcoming and supporting one another, for being a shining light against a great challenge. And that's what we're up against right now. We're up against a great challenge.
Yep.
We want you to continue to be safe, be strong, be kind, and be humankind. And we've got a whole T-shirt campaign that's going on right now. Visit the covidhealth.ca website to see about the T-shirts that we got out there. We're going to be asking people to send in those videos about what it's like to be kind. Just a quick little snippet about what it's like to be kind, what it means to be kind,
Right.
what it means to be human,
Right.
and then what it's like to be humankind. And then we're going to have these T-shirts available for people.
Yeah,
to,
and we'll
to
talk
get to
about that,
purchase.
too.
And we're going to talk about that.
What that means.
In the shows to come.
Yep.
To everybody out there, please continue to stay safe, be humankind, and we leave you with this.